What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful, delicious, smoky, barky, tender, amazing, boneless pork belly rib roast. Coming up. This is some pork. Pat it dry. So this is a pretty interesting cut that I have not encountered before, but basically it's a big old pork belly that still has all the rib meat on there. So it's extra thick, extra meaty, and just a beautiful chunk of meat. I got this from my friends over at Heritage Berkshire Pork. That's heritageberkshire.com. If you've never tried their products, I highly recommend it. They make some incredibly good pork. And the other day they hit me up saying, you gotta try this new cut. I believe they call it the Japanese single rib belly on their website. And as you can see, it's pretty much the same cut that we use at Leroy and Lewis for the bacon rib, which is a bone-in spare rib with the belly still on, except this one has no bones. And instead of just slicing them all off, getting spare ribs and a separate belly, they just scooped all the bones out from right here, leaving all this extra meat on there. And I gotta say, it's a pretty good looking cut. Because everybody loves a good pork belly, but they're super fatty, so having a little extra meat on there, giving us this nice thick presentation, sounds like it's gonna cook up perfectly on the old barbecue pit. So I'm thinking today we're just gonna cook this up like a normal pork belly or a normal rack of ribs, just kind of on the smoker, typical barbecue stuff, keeping it real simple today. I'm not gonna do any trimming on this, although I think I am gonna cut it in half, just because it's gigantic. And this will make it a little bit easier to move these two parts around and give us that beautiful bacony cross section. Gotta love that. Ooh, this would be a great cut to roll up like that, get a little porchetta going. But again, I just want to make some sliced up pork belly barbecue today. So let's hit this with a rub real quick. For our rub today, we're going to keep it super simple, starting with 2 parts 16 mesh black pepper, on sale now at shopchuds.com, followed by 1 part Diamond Crystal kosher salt and 1/2 part granulated garlic. My go-to classic brisket rub. Just get that all nice and mixed up. Not going on with any slathers today. You tend to not need them for things that are coming right out of a cryovac like that, unless you do a really good job of patting it dry. But we're gonna go nice and heavy with this rub, like always, because of the high pepper content. We don't really have to worry about over salting this thing. And all that extra pepper is gonna make sure we get a beautiful bark. And as always, folks, please don't forget the sides. Rookie move. I see it all the time. Looking good to me. And as for this guy, I think we're gonna go on with some trusty old Chud rub. Get a nice little comparison going. Just a little extra flavor. Gotta say, I do love the color. Looking good to me. Let's fire up the pit. There's a snake in my boat. Got this pit fired up to about 275 degrees, which is where I'm gonna be aiming for most of this cook. But if it goes down to 250 or up to 320, I don't really care, because pork belly is a super forgiving cut. Try and aim the thick side toward the fire. Make sure it's sitting nice and flat. Beautiful. We'll check back in on these in a couple hours. We're about 4 hours into this pork belly cook, and let's see how these things are looking. Ooh, right around 180, 175, 180, starting to feel nice and tender. Got some really nice looking bark on there too. Oh yeah, ooh, love that nice fat render, smelling fantastic. Beautiful color on there. Oops. I think it's about time that we whipped up a very tasty glaze. Starting with a healthy knob of butter, as well as a little bit of some sesame oil and a whole bunch of green onions. Once that's cooked down a little bit, we're gonna go in with some minced garlic, as well as some minced ginger. Oh, starting to smell real good, folks. And once everything is cooked down a little bit, and smelling absolutely fantastic, by the way, we're gonna go in with everything else, including some soy sauce, some rice vinegar, a nice healthy shot of some sriracha. Oh, we're going spicy today. Don't mind if I do. As well as a couple shots of some fish sauce, and just let that come back up to a simmer. And once nice and toasty, we're gonna go in with our brown sugar and just make sure that it's hot enough to make sure that everything is dissolved. Give that a nice little whisk, and just let all these flavors kind of get to know each other a little bit. And clearly I'm going for an Asian flavor profile on these belly ribs, this boneless bacon belly rib meat cut, boneless rib on belly roast. I don't know what to call this cut, folks. Maybe let me know in the comments below what you think. And once all that sugar is melted, we have got ourselves a beautiful little sauce here, which I'm gonna dilute with a bunch of ice for 2 different reasons. One, so it's not too thick, meaning we can use it as a spritz, but also using ice is gonna cool it down so we don't melt our squirt bottle, because I have done that before. And I'll have an approximation of this recipe in the description box down below, although to be honest, I'm kind of just throwing stuff together here. But as always, be sure to taste it. If it tastes good to you, it'll taste good on your pork belly, rib, boneless roast thing. And finally, I'm gonna send it through a little strainer here to get out all the particulates and chunks. Oh God, I'm making a mess. Must I do this every video? I need to come up with a better system. Every time. And then into our little squirt bottle we go. Beautiful. You know the drill from here, folks. We're just gonna get a nice thin layer all over these pork bellies. Oh, they're looking so good already. Love that. And we're gonna let this thin layer kind of cook on. We'll come back in 10-15, do it again. Just kind of build up that shellac layer of all the flavor we just created. Oh, it smells so good. All right, folks, we're about 5.5 hours into this cook, and these bellies are looking perfect. Coming off the pit. Ooh, plenty of shellac glaze on there. Ow, very hot. Rocking an internal temp of right around 195, 200, which is exactly where we want to be. Look at that, 203, the magic number. Feeling nice and tender, beautiful crust on there. So off they come. Boop. I sprayed the bottom with our little spritz here. I'm going to spray the top one more time, and then we're going to wrap these up. Nothing too tight. We just want to collect some steam in there, let these things tenderize up a little bit, soften that bark that we created. And you may notice that there's a lot less spritz in this bottle than when I originally started. And that's because I poured most of it out into this pot here, and I'm reducing it all down to make a nice little dipping sauce. That way, we don't waste anything. So we're gonna let these cool down for the next probably 45 minutes or so until they are sliceable eating temperature. We're gonna make sure our sauce is looking nice and beautiful, nice and bubbly, and nice and thick. And then we'll dive on in. Oh, that got real dark. All that soy sauce and brown sugar. Tastes absolutely fantastic though, by the way. Top that off with some sesame seeds. Don't mind if I do. But now for the real moment of truth. Ooh. Oh, love it. Oops. Oh no. Always save your bag juices, folks. Gotta say, it's been a minute since I cooked some good old pork bellies, and these are just gigantic, like so thick, yet so floppy. Ooh, ooh, smelling so good out here. Where is my knife? Oh, there it is. Let's go ahead and slice on in, shall we? Nip this end off, just like slicing a brisket, folks. Ooh, would you look at that? Nice and juicy, so thick. Gotta love it. Let's get a few more. Great way to feed a whole bunch of people. And because we cooked this to like 200 plus, a lot of that fat has rendered out, so it theoretically won't be too rich and is still nice and tender. And of course, still nice and rich. Let's give that a little taste test, shall we? Oh, it's so good. Oh, so porky. I gotta go for another one. Little end cut here, little sugar cookie on the end there. Don't mind if I do. Oh, that's phenomenal. It's so decadent. Honestly, you can taste the difference in the pork. When you get like a Berkshire or any heritage breed, it's unbelievably better than what you're gonna get from the grocery store. That's unbelievable. Beautiful stuff, folks. I tell you what. Let's get a few out of this guy too, the old salt and pepper. Just like a brisket, you wanna make this first slice nice and thick. That way you can go through and get some really nice little pork belly burn ends. Nothing wrong with that. I love pork belly. Oops. Oh, it's so good. I mean, just look at it. It's so juicy, so smoky. Got a little sweetness and tang from the glaze. Ah, this is what barbecue is all about, folks. Oh, I mean, would you just look at it, folks? Beautiful bark, nice and sticky, nice and flavorful. We got a nice dipping sauce on the side. Fatty, rendered. We even got some little burn ends. Oh! All right, I'm ready for the taste test. I gotta say, I love pork belly day here on the channel. You know, it's just such a rich, indulgent thing. It's fatty, it's smoky. I mean, just look at the smoke ring we got on this piece right here. It's unbelievable. Beautiful bark, nice and tender. It's everything you want in barbecue. But I don't know about you, but these little burn ends here are calling my name. Oh, it's phenomenal. It's incredible how much flavor that spritz can bring. Even though it's an hour, 45 minutes of spritzing right towards the end, so good. Talk about your pork belly brisket, right? That is like a full slice of lean brisket right there. Nice and tender, love it. Let's get a little dip in this sauce, shall we? This stuff thickened up real quick once you start boiling it down. I mean, look at that, that's insane. Oh, that's the move, folks. What's that Japanese barbecue sauce that they sell? It tastes just like that. Very soy heavy, got that sweetness in there. You got the complexity of the garlic and the ginger, but it all concentrated down into a perfect dipping sauce. I gotta go back in. And it's so dark, it's ridiculous looking. It's like straight molasses. Oh my God. It's like savory candy. I might have reduced that a little too far though. It's pretty intense. But that is something I've been thinking about for a long time, is having a spritz that you can also reduce down into a sauce. It really makes a lot of sense, because I hate when I make like a maple spritz and I get like 15 spritzes in and then I'm done with the cook and I've got all this spritz left that I can't leave in the bottle because of the sugar. It'll attract flies and start molding and stuff. So being able to use it and reduce it down like this, very nice. Oh, I'm making a PBLT tomorrow. I tell you what. Tell you what. Boop, boop, boop. That is so good. It just melts in your mouth. It's been a minute since I cooked a pork belly, and I'm glad I chose a Berkshire one that is incredibly thick. That extra rib meat on there, so good. And it really is true. If you've never really sprung for the high-end heritage breed hogs, you can immediately taste the difference. Like, the pork meat is sweeter. It's just got more porky flavor than the commodity stuff you're gonna get at the grocery store. And that's what I love about ribs and pork belly, you know? It can be sweet, it can be savory, it can be spicy, it can be tangy. The world is yours. So good. But I could keep blathering all night long, but right now I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make an absolutely fantastic boneless pork belly on rib roast, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I highly recommend giving this a try, whether it's with this cut or just a regular belly. The pork belly, no matter how you cook it, always comes out so good. You get that really nice bark, you get that rendered fat, you get the smoke ring, and especially with this glaze turned into a sauce, you end up with an absolutely amazing bite. But that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Feel free to drop a comment down below letting me know what you want to see me cook next. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!